Hey, these 3 things will definitely get you fired from your trucking job. Let's talk about it.
If it does it again next time when you come in, go on and pump 11, because it's got the dual tanks too.
Alright.
Because it don't do that. Like, it's never done that.
Yeah, that was the first time that ever happened to me. So, but I guess you guys have had it happen before the other drivers. But
yeah, a few times.
Yeah.
And then it like straightens itself out when we have somebody come work on it.
Yeah, and it's like the problem not even there anymore.
Right. Then it come back again. I'm like, Lord, I'll be glad when they get somebody to fix that.
I appreciate it.
Thank you. You have a wonderful day, man.
You too. We here, man. Made it through another day. A day in the life of GFS, man. Day in the life of GFS driver, man. Go ahead and fuel this bad boy up so I can talk to you guys for a second. Alright guys, so first of all, listen, welcome to I'm Anthony TV. Look man, if you're new to the channel, definitely subscribe to the channel, like this video, and drop a comment if you got some comments. Again, liking the video definitely helps with the YouTube algorithm, man, and gets the content out to more people. So the more likes the video gets, the more people is able to view the content, man. I appreciate it. So look, you guys see the name of the video. Today, I'm gonna give you guys 3 things that will get you fired from your trucking job. Let me put my gloves on. Give me just a second. All right. And this is in no particular order. So, the first thing on the list is accidents, right? And let me clarify that. Preventive accidents, right? Preventive accidents will get you fired from your trucking job. Depending on what company you're with, especially, I know like us, just talking about a local job and food service, with GFS, we go by a point system. So depending on the accident, you get a certain amount of points for that accident, right? But some companies, you may be one and done and you out the door. So another important thing to note here is know what your company's policies and procedures are as it pertains to accidents, right? You got to know what the company policy is. So that's important. Know the company policy and procedures so you're not out there looking crazy when you get into an accident and you don't know what the repercussion is going to be. If you know the policies and procedures, then you already know what to expect. So preventive accidents will get you fired from your trucking job. Number 2, tickets, speeding tickets, right? Too many violations will get you fired from your trucking job. So we all know that most of our trucks especially in the local game, local trucking, most of our tractors are governed, right? So it's probably a slight chance, very slim chance, that you're gonna get a speeding ticket in your tractor, right? Now, over-the-road drivers, that's another story. Most over-the-road drivers, I'm pretty sure the majority of those guys don't have governed tractors. They're hitting the highway, they're on the road, you know what I mean? So they have a better chance at getting a speeding ticket than a local driver, somebody that's working with a local trucking company. So being in the company vehicle in the tractor is really not what you have to worry about when it comes to getting a speeding ticket. You got to worry about being in your personal vehicle, because your personal vehicle is, you should look at that like your company vehicle, because if you get a ticket in your personal vehicle, we all know you have to report that back to management, right? So you need to be safer when it comes to driving, following the laws on the highway and things of that nature in your personal vehicle more so than really in your company vehicle, because you got a much better chance at getting a speeding ticket in your personal vehicle versus your company vehicle. So when you're behind the wheel throughout the day, whatever you're doing, handling business, you know, making your commutes, you got to be conscious of the fact that you're a Class A CDL driver. So try not to get any tickets in your personal vehicle. Drive safe. As long as you're doing that, you don't have anything to worry about. But the more tickets you get, and depending on what the ticket is, 15 miles over or whatever, reckless driving, DUI, whatever it is, if you get something like that, you already know you're getting fired, right? So keep that in mind when you're behind the wheel of your personal vehicle. All right, that's number 2. Number 3, and these things apply to local trucking and over-the-road trucking. All 3 of these things will get you fired, whether or not you're local or over the road. So the third thing that will get you fired from your trucking job is stealing from the company. Theft. Listen, in the food service game in particular, I'm pretty sure that, you know, a lot of you guys in the food service game that subscribe to the channel, you guys watch the channel, you guys in this particular industry doing the local job, I'm pretty sure you've heard stories, probably even seen some route drivers steal a case or two throughout the course of your career as a food service driver, right? I know I've heard stories of guys steal a case here or there, right? You got to ask yourself this question. If you ever thinking about stealing a case, right? Or any product from your company, from your workplace, you got to ask yourself this question. Is the product or the item that I'm thinking about taking from this company, is it worth my salary? That's what you got to ask yourself. Is it worth my salary? Because if you get caught, more than likely you're gonna get fired. And at the end of the day, you just lost your job for stealing an item that's much less than what you make while working at that company, right? Think twice before you turn around and stick that steak in your trunk at the end of the day that you said was a return or didn't write it off as a return, and you stuck it in your trunk. Think twice before you do that. Just ask yourself that question. Is the thing that I'm thinking about taking from this company worth my salary, right? Is $100, $200, $300 item worth my $60, $70, $80,000 a year job? That's what you gotta ask yourself. And if it is, then take it. I mean, I don't think it's smart, but hey, do what you gotta do. You gotta use common sense, people. You gotta use common sense, man. I'm gonna tell you guys a story. These 2 true stories that happened while I was in management, right? For those that don't know, that may be new to the channel, this may be your first time watching this video. If you're new to the channel, you probably don't know this, but I've mentioned this in previous videos. I used to be in management at a company that was similar to food service. We delivered food to grocery stores, convenience stores, things of that nature. And I had 12 or 13 route drivers under me, right? And I had one incident with a route driver that I had to terminate him because he stole a cigarette lighter out of a convenience store while making his delivery. True story. Can't make this stuff up. He stole a cigarette lighter, man. I got in that morning, going through my emails. I see an email from that store manager, sent it to corporate. Once the emails get sent to corporate, they go to everybody in corporate. So my DM called me that morning after he saw the email. It's like, hey, Anthony, did you see your email about your route driver at this particular store? Like, yeah, I see it. My DM was like, well, for those that know DM, that's district manager, right? So he's like, did you see that about your route driver? I'm like, yeah, I seen it. He's like, well, you know what you got to do with him. It's like, I already know. So make a long story short, the driver came in off the route, and I ended up having to terminate him. Called him in the office, explained to him the situation. I didn't say what store it was. Obviously, he already knew, like, hey, got an email. Store manager said they got you on camera stealing a cigarette lighter at this. Well, I didn't tell him the location because, you know, you never know. People can go back and do whatever. So I didn't get an employee the location, but he already knew, you know, what happened because he did it, right? He didn't argue with me or anything like that. He was pretty much like, he had that you got me look on his face. You know what I'm saying? But I'm telling you guys this because he made that decision to steal a lighter that could have been no more than $1, $2, however much lighters are. He stole that lighter and he gave that up for his salary. Because now you don't have a job no more, all because you stole a lighter. That was the first incident. The second time I had to get rid of a driver. Now these was at 2 different locations. I was a manager at 2 different locations, but this was a different location. But I had to terminate this driver for something similar, right? So, and the second driver is a crazy story, and I'm gonna tell you guys why. So, second time, another driver went into a convenience store making his delivery. He ends up making the delivery, putting everything on the shelf and all that. He goes out to his truck, put everything out on his truck, dolly and all that. he goes back inside of the store. When he goes back inside of the store, the clerk is not at the cash register. Like, so she's probably in the back room somewhere or wherever. The route driver goes in by the cold sandwiches, grabs a sandwich, and goes back out the front door with the sandwich, right? He goes to the cooler area, grabs the sandwich, goes back out the door into his truck, and he takes off. They got him on surveillance, caught him. Same thing, got the email. So the crazy part about this situation is that this driver, so we had all the route drivers' names in the handhelds, right? You had an ID number that you had to put in, similar to how it is kind of in food service. You had your ID number that you have to put in, and it comes up with the employee name, you write the route driver, and you put all that in, and you start your route. And our invoices had the route driver's name on the invoice. It had the company name, address, phone number, all that. It was on the invoice, right? When you print the invoices out, all that information is on the invoice. Well, this particular route driver didn't have his name in the system yet, right? So I had to let him use my name, right? Obviously, I didn't give him my number. I put everything in, but he had to use my login in order to run the route. I think you guys know where I'm heading with this story. So when the manager at that store sent the email to corporate, she said, this morning at such and such time, we called and we have it on surveillance. His name is Anthony. Not making this up, guys. So my name is on the invoice because he had to use my login information to run the route. And this goes to corporate, right? My DM calls me and he's like, Anthony, you see the email about store such and such? I'm like, yeah, I'm reading it now. I'm like, I wasn't even on the route. So he's like, why it has your name on there? I'm like, well, I had to let the route driver use my name. His name wasn't in the system yet, yada, yada, yada. So it was this big situation, right? So to make a long story short, my DM ended up flying down here. We both had a meeting at the store just to confirm that it wasn't me on camera. So basically, we had to meet up with the store manager at that store. When we got to the store and we seen the manager, I'm like, hey, how you doing? I'm Anthony. I'm the sales manager. Immediately, the store manager like, you're Anthony? I'm like, yeah. She's like, you're not the one on the tape. Like, I know. I had to let that route driver use my information in order to run the route. And it's like, yeah, you're not the one on the tape. So we go in the back room. They show us the surveillance. Clearly, it's not me. So basically, my manager just had to make sure it wasn't me. Can't really take my word for it in that particular situation. I guess he got a job to do too. So basically, everything checked out. It wasn't me. But that situation was crazy. But I said all that to say this. That's another driver that I had to let go because he stole a sandwich, right? He stole a sandwich from a convenience store, and now you just lost your job behind a sandwich. But I wanted to share these two stories with you guys because you got to ask yourself that question, man. Is it worth your job? When it comes to stealing anything from your company, like, is it worth your job? Just ask yourself that question. But those are the three things that will get you fired from your trucking job. And just be careful, man. Use good judgment, use common sense, and, do the right thing. You good. You don't have to worry about none of that. But anyway, guys, that's what I wanted to talk to you guys about today. And I wanted to share those stories with you. And I wanted to share these three things that will get you fired from your job. And hopefully none of this happens to anybody out there. But just be mindful, man. All right, guys, remember, if you're new to the channel, subscribe to the channel, like this video, drop a comment if you got some comments. And until next time, I'll see you guys on the next one. Peace.